You ready to do a deck profile? You want to do a deck profile? You ready to do a video? Let's go!
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Powered by Primus, and in today's video we're going to be doing a deck profile video. Now this is a really fun and exciting deck that I have been playing with recently online, having a lot of really good results, so I wanted to obviously share it with you guys. Now this thing is really powerful. It really fills my bucket as far as all the things that I want to do in a deck, so again, like I said, I wanted to share it with you. Now, I have been posting some stuff talking about Wave 5 and all that, and people are like, well, hey, Jamie, Wave 5 is not out yet, so why are you talking about it? It's because Wave 5 should technically be out by now. I don't want to say that I'm overplaying with Wave 4, but I'm definitely ready to start playing with Wave 5, which is why you guys are going to be seeing Wave 5 stuff from me. Now, Wave 5 does not come out until the end of this month, the end of May, so obviously we have like another 30 days we have to wait for it. However, I'll be doing proxying and a bunch of other stuff that we're doing online because I want to play with it. There is so much to explore. There's a lot to dive into, so you guys are going to be seeing it here anyway, and today I'm going to be showing off a character that does show up in Wave 5 in this list, which gets to take advantage of this deck just so much. I'm super excited. Really hope that you guys do enjoy the video, so let's get into it. Now, the first character we're going to talk about here is going to be Optimus Prime, the infantry leader. Now, this guy has always been a monster, one of my favorite characters, because he really, again, fills my bucket for what I want to do in a deck. I want bold, I want tough, I want focus, I want it all. I want to swing for a bunch, I'm going to block for a bunch. This guy is my man when it comes to all this good jazz. Now, coming in here with 4 attack, 14 health, and 3 defense, so just really good stats across the board. Each of your other characters has bold 1 and tough 1. Now it is while he's in this mode, obviously, which is what makes this really so fantastic. Now you guys are going to see a really basic difference in this deck. I did post, this was back like Gen Con last year, a deck extremely similar to this, which is where I got the inspiration to do this one. So if you guys do recognize it, is because it is an upgraded version of that previous list. Now, it's really good because we don't have to flip this character in order to get those benefits. You really don't want to flip Prime until you're swinging with Prime himself. So it's really nice. We can take some big advantage here. So that is what he's going to be doing on that side. We're going to flip over to this mode, and he is going to be leader range, which is really fantastic. 6 attack, 14 health, and 2 defense. So again, really nice stats. We lose defense, but we get to pick up 2 attack, which is really nice. Bold 1, tough 1 for himself, and then does have focus 1, so we can make sure if we have any bad cards on top of our deck when it comes to the opposites in battling. So if we're on offense, we get to chuck those blues off the top, and if we're on defense, we get to chuck those oranges off the top. However, this deck has some really cool combat sequences we're going to talk about. I'm really excited to get into it with you guys. So that is going to be our big man Prime. Next character coming in here is going to be Fangry. Now, this is the Wave 5 character we were talking about. This guy is absolutely amazing. Now, I know that he is going to be getting a lot of play. If you guys don't believe me, you're going to see him a lot, so just believe me. But originally in this same list, I ran Wheeljack in this slot in my 9-star space. And the reason behind that was because Wheeljack got bold 3 if there was a weapon in the scrap pile. So it was really easy to be able to flip him. This deck runs a good amount of weapons. So it was really easy to have weapons in the scrap pile to be able to get in those big hits. However, it took a flip to get there, and I had to have a weapon in the scrap pile. So there were just some times where it just didn't really work out for me, so I wanted to kind of explore something different, and Fangry came in here in a really nice spot. Now, first off, Fangry is going to have the bold 2 head, does count as 9 stars. So he's going to have that bold 2 when it just comes to basic swinging. Now, that is less than 1, obviously, bold from Wheeljack, and does have 1 less attack from Wheeljack. So technically, we're down a little bit and down a little bit for the same star cost. However, we get to save a flip, and we don't have to worry about having a weapon, so it picks up a little bit. And then the really cool part is while this is attacking an enemy that has more stars than him, he gets an additional bold 2. So now it becomes in a better situation in those modes where we now have bold 4 going into a character that has more stars, and we don't have to worry about a weapon. So that means that turn 1, which I'll talk about sequencing, we get to swing in here with bold 5 into a big character, because Prime, while he's in alt mode over here, is going to be able to give us that additional bold 1. So we get to swing in for bold 5 at the start of the turn. That is absolutely insane. Really good stuff. And then we flip over to the other mode because we are obviously a tough and a bold deck, if you guys haven't heard. So while this is defending against an enemy that has fewer stars than him, he now picks up tough 2. By the way, it's tough 3 with Prime sitting over here. Really, really good stuff. Now, it does have to be a character, obviously, with less stars than him. However, there are a lot of 5 stars, 6 stars, and because we do count as 9 stars with our head on there, anything that is less than 9 stars, obviously, is going to give us tough 2. Really nice. And then lastly, coming in is my girl, Flame War. Really, really awesome. She's been a fantastic character forever. I know a lot of people are like, hey, just run Night Racer, she's better. In this deck, Flame War is actually just better. You don't really have a lot of secret actions to be proccing the bold and the tough, and then the tough and the bold is relevant when it comes to this matchup. You can definitely take her out and put in Night Racer, and I think you'd be okay just because she is statted a little better, so you're going to probably be able to block a little bit more, push a little more damage. However, it's not really giving you the support that you want because, again, we're not running enough secret actions in here for it to be relevant enough. There are turns when I need the bold, but need to play an action and don't need to play a secret action just to get the bold. Same thing with the tough side. Because I don't really I'm not flipping these guys in the beginning, it's an easy to flip Flame War in the beginning. We're sending Fangry in here with bold 5 into a character and then gets to defend with tough 2 built in. And then if we ever have to flip this route, now we're with tough 4. So it's really, really powerful. It's really, really good stuff. Like I said, I'll talk about sequencing probably later on just because there are some specific things, especially when you are indeed flipping Flame War. She does have 3 attack, 10 health, and 1 defense, and then each of my characters has tough 1 while she is in this mode, and then a specialist, not relevant in this deck, and then if she does flip to this mode, each of my characters gets bold 1 until end turn. Again, there are definitely times where we're pushing that additional bold for additional reasons. Now, if you guys, like I said, do remember this deck, I did run the Wheeljack here and a couple of different things, and we'll talk about it. However, with Wave 5, it really wanted me to revisit this list because there are a few cards that are in Wave 5 that absolutely fix all of the issues that this deck had when it came to originals, where like you go to swing with a Wheeljack and you're like, ooh, bold 3, I got all this, and like you got supercharge on me, you swing for like, you know, bold 8 or whatever, and it's like, blue, 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 1 orange, blue. And you're like, well, that was cool. And then you defend, and you're like, okay, well, I got tough 3, and then you're like, orange, 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 orange. So it came into, like, it was pretty random when that would happen, but it definitely was enough for it to be pretty painful and make the deck, I don't want to say not consistent, because the deck was very, very good. I ran it for a long time. However, it just gave me a few issues in a few situations where I was like, I know I should have had that game had I just flipped 1 or 2 blues, but because the way it was built made things just a little weird. This deck is going to fix all of those issues. So let's go ahead and get into our upgrades. The one thing I did not mention is the head. When a body mode character is KO'd, so let me get out Fangry here. So after our body mode character is KO'd, then boom, they do go away, and you get to bring out the little Titan Master, who does also have Bolt 2. So it's really relevant for this little guy. For Flameout to come out here at the end, possibly even just like offer up Fangry. My opponent has to KO Fangry just because he hits like a truck in this deck, and then they have to deal with Flameout the next turn, getting a swing back in, and then I still have my Flame War and Prime to still go. So it can essentially act like a 4-wide in those situations, especially if you're playing up against another aggressive orange deck that's putting out a bunch of damage. They are going to KO the Fangry pretty quick. So again, like I said, it's just pretty nice for Flameout to come out here and have Bolt 2 built in himself, and then with Prime, and then if you flip Flame War, now he's getting in for Bolt 4. You can get some pretty crazy damage with this character all by himself. Now the first card coming in is a 3 of is going to be Reinforced Plating. Now this is a blue battle icon, and it is an armor coming in here giving us access to tough 2. Now armors and stuff like that have always been a really weird spot. However, in this deck I feel like it's still really solid to even attempt to go for it. Your opponent doesn't respond to it, then you're getting in for a lot more on the defensive side of things, which is really, really nice. And if your opponent does respond to it, we do have enough built-in tough to where we're still kind of pretty protected. I've seen Fangry take up to 4 hits from an orange deck in this list just because you're able to flip really well, and there are some specific cards, again, we'll talk about to really help protect that. So this is just a really, really good card to be able to put in here. Now these next 2, I did not print proxies for, so we're just going to use the back of basic cards, and then I will show you guys on the screen, and then when I move it, I'll put them up there. So these are going to be Brass Knuckles. Now Brass Knuckles is probably one of my favorite upgrades coming in with Wave 5 because of what it gets to do. First off, it is a blue battle icon, it is a utility, and it does give us Bolt 2. So this is going to allow us to really push damage, especially in this kind of deck, and not be worried about sabotaged armament, which I think is very, very important. Sabotage has always been a really good card, it's stopping a lot of that stuff, and this being a utility gets around that, and I still get the bold 2. So it's absolutely fantastic to throw on a character in this, especially out in the utility slot, so I can still slam a weapon on the character if I need to, and we still have our armor slot open up. It is really, really nice and super easy to suit up a character in this deck, and they are doing 1 billion damage and blocking 1 billion. Super, super awesome. So awesome brass knuckle. Now the next tree coming in here is going to be Handheld Blaster. Now this is a double blue battle icon for the moment. Again, we'll talk about it later on. It is a double blue battle icon, and then it does give us bold 1. Again, because we are pushing a mixed deck, this is actually a card that is playable. However, I don't recommend you play it. It's really nice to be able to use to get rid of, like, to pick up a green battle icon, or if, you know, you just have another way of getting it out of your hand, go for it. I don't recommend really playing it as much as possible just because it's really not that good. You really want it for the double blues. However, in those pinch situations, when you really need to push that 1 extra point of damage, then I would definitely recommend that you do play it. Like I said, it is playable, but it's mainly in there for the double blues. The next tree coming in here is going to be Improvised Shield. Now, the exact same thing, but the polar opposite, right? This is double orange, really nice for us on attack, can be really nice for us on defense. It is an armor, and then it does give us tough 1. Again, I would say to, you know, chuck it to all of your green battle icons when you can. Try to get them back into your deck so you can constantly be flipping those things. You don't want to have them all in your hand. You can play it for the tough, so again, if you're really worried about that swing coming in, you need to block 1 or 2 more, then I definitely suggest that you can play it. However, your other armors are just going to be better options. Next tree coming in here is going to be Grenade Launcher. You can't build a deck without a Grenade Launcher almost, it seems like, but Grenade Launcher is really, really good. Orange battle icon help us out on attack. It does give us +4 attack until the end of, when the character attacks. So really good, just really nice to be able to put on any of our characters to help push damage, just because, like, Power Punch, I'm not a big fan of in this list because we do run a lot of blues as well. I think it's like almost split down the middle between blues and oranges. So like you play Power Punch, and then again you have the same Wheeljack effect where you flip a bunch of blues, and it's just a little unfortunate. However, this is just +4 attack. Boom, there you go. You're in a good spot. Next two coming in here, because we have a leader, is Matrix of Leadership. Now, first off, it's mainly, I guess no, not really. It's in here because it's an orange and a blue battle icon, which is really nice. And then you get to put on Autobot, so you can only put it on our General Op, and also our Flame Out. Remember that, he's an Autobot, counts. And then it says as long as it's on a leader, you get your other characters get +1 attack and Pierce 1, and then your leader would just get the +1. So really nice just to be able to put in that utility slot on Prime if we need it. Also, like I said, later on in Flame Out, those rare situations where you need that really bad +1 as their only upgrade. And then giving access to your characters having, you know, the +1 attack and Pierce 1 might be good enough. Sparring Gear is the next card coming in as a 2 of. This is going to be in there just because it is an armor as well. It's an orange battle icon, so now we have an orange and a blue armor, so really, really nice. As I said, the battle icons in this deck fit so well. It's like a puzzle. I love it. Super, super nice. It's also a green battle icon, so we can get rid of those doubles when we need to, and also we can pick it up when we need to in those dire situations when we know we're about to get hit and we need some tough, and then it does give us tough too. I play this one the majority of the time. If like I have a Reinforce and a Sparring Gear in my hand, I usually choose to almost always play the Sparring Gear first, just because if I'm worried about my opponent having a removal, a way of getting rid of it, it goes back into the deck. It becomes an orange, which is a little more relevant for this. I want to push more damage than I want to block in most situations. Just because there's a lot of orange out there, and blue, if I'm playing against blue, this deck is very, very resilient, unless it's like insane, you know, 8 Pierce 8 swings. It does ridiculously good. If someone's swinging in for just 10 in blue deck, it just blocks so much. So it's really, really nice. I want to push orange as much as possible. So I get rid of these first, so I get the oranges back in the deck. It helps me cycle those out, and then I lay the Reinforced Plating down on my opponent, and then they most likely don't have a removal for it, and then I'm keeping a blue card on the table. So it's actually really, really nice, really important to be able to do stuff like that. Just because obviously, like, you play the Reinforced Plating, your opponent removes it. Well, now you play the Sparring Gear, but now you have a Reinforced, you know, going back and through your deck, which is fine because it's a blue, but you don't have a way of getting it back. So it's just stuff like that, just to make sure you pay attention. Just a little bit of you know, tricky stuff, but it's really nice. The next two coming in here is going to be Ion Blaster of Optimus Prime. Now, this is in here because it's Optimus. It's a really, really good weapon, but it just does so much for Optimus himself because he's most likely going to always be your last character. Like, even Flame War in this deck can be really deadly, so your opponent does try to get rid of all of your other characters while trying to pick. Sometimes they'll only focus on Prime, which I think is a really bad idea, but sometimes they do try to do that just because, like, oh, well, he's your big character, so I'm going to try to get him off the table. Well, Fangre's hitting for a bunch, and like I said, even Flame War can be getting in for 10 damage on a pretty regular basis. So it's really, really nice Blue battle icon help us out on defense, and then obviously it only goes on to Prime. It does give him +2 attack and 1 defense. So in his bot mode, you're going to be going up to 8 attack, 3 defense, and in his alt mode, you're going to be at 6 attack, 4 defense. So just really, really nice stuff. And then the last card coming here is going to be a Scoundrel's Blaster, because we do have 2 Scoundrels in this deck. I mean Decepticons in this deck. So we are going to run it for the blue and the green battle icon. Green, we're nice to be able to pick those things up. It does give our Decepticons +2 and then Pierce 2 of going into an Autobot. So if we also have Matrix out, well, now we're getting Pierce 3. So just pretty nice in case those situations where like maybe you don't have the greatest of swing, but you're still getting Pierce 3 in there. Also can be really relevant, like if you're throwing Flame War and you're not really trying to push a bunch of damage, but you just guarantee that she swings in there for like 4 Pierce 4 or 4 Pierce 3. It's pretty nice stuff. So that is going to be our upgrades. Now let's go ahead and get into our actions. Now coming into our actions, the first 3 coming in is going to be Peace Through Tyranny. Now this is a double orange battle icon card. Really, really nice, really helping us push that damage and being really nice on defense. I keep talking about how it's going to be really good on the opposites. We'll talk about it here in just a second, I promise. It also does say that you may KO one of your characters that has 6 or more. If you do, you have to take an extra turn. Now I have used this in a few situations when my opponent was unfortunate enough to not take down Fangry, because Fangry is a 6-star character, even if you look at it without his head. So you do have it in this situation here, and you need to take that extra turn. You're actually not losing a character still. So most likely we're in the situation here where we're tapped down. We need to go for it. We play Peace Through Tyranny. We get to KO our Fangry, and we actually get to bring out Flame Out instead. So really nice, not to mention we get an extra turn. So if we had like Prime to still swing, you know, our opponent was tapped down. Well, now we're getting these 2 hits, and then we get to untap and Prime can swing again, or I can even, let's say Flame War still out, I can throw Flame War, I can even just throw a Flame Out a second time, and then my opponent has to go back into a Flame Out, which is a really bad sequence for them. So it's really, really nice if you can happen to get that out there. It's one of the reasons, like I said, if your opponent is like choosing to go after like, you know, your Flame War, your Prime, or whatever else, Fangry can totally be just a really big pain in their side, just because that guy has so much utility from dealing damage to blocking to being a sacrificial land for peace. Like, it's crazy. Next you're coming in here is going to be Security Checkpoint. Now this is a double blue battle icon, helps you on defense and 2 on offense. And then does say each player reveals their hand and scraps all upgrades from it. Now we do run a decent amount of upgrades in the list, so I don't recommend you playing this just to like hit 1 upgrade from your opponent's hand. However, if your opponent is running a very heavy upgraded deck, or like you know that they're holding on to 2 or 3 cards, you watch them pick them up with greens, or you know they played a bunch of like draw, like an equipment enthusiast and drew a bunch, well then yeah, maybe try to go for the, you know, security checkpoint, play the whatever upgrade you can for the turn, then try to hit them with it. Again, it's mainly not in there for playing purposes, but more of the battle icons. But if, like I said, again, if you need to push the panic button, then push the panic button. Now the next 3 coming in here are the ones that we are talking about. I've been saying so much, and that is Belligerence. This card is absolutely insane. If you guys watched my top 10 video, I said that this card was #1 on my list. It remains #1 on my list. If you thought that like playing against Press the Advantage was oppressive, just wait until you start playing against Belligerence when this card is out and people are playing it. It is going to be a very popular card and a very powerful card. Like, hear me out. True. It's so good. So first off, it is an orange battle icon, really helping us push on attack. And then it says, until end of turn, which is very relevant, end of turn, each blue either player flips during battle is an orange instead. So if I happen to be getting 2 swings into my opponent, it counts in both of those battles. It does not just count until end of battle. It is the remainder of the turn. So really, really powerful stuff. Not to mention, it turns all of these double blues into double oranges, which is why I was saying sometimes it's really unfortunate when you go to swing and it's like blue, 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 blue. Well, now I don't care what I flip when I swing. It just becomes an orange. Even something like Matrix of Leadership, now because it has a blue, is a double orange. You know, these pieces stay double oranges. These security checkpoints become double oranges. Brass Knuckles becomes a an orange. Reinforced plating, everything blue just becomes an orange, and it's not an inverted. It doesn't turn your oranges into blue, so you're like, oh yeah, I flipped a piece and a security checkpoint, so they flip. No, no, no. They all become oranges, and you get to push an insane amount of damage. I've told you, I haven't told you, I'm about to tell you. There was one swing where I got in here with Fangry. I'm pretty sure it was Fangry or Prime. I'm pretty sure it was Fangry, where I got into a character for 26 damage. And that was by playing 1 action and 1 upgrade. But because of the way the flips worked out, I flipped Flame Ward, I gave it an additional bolt, plus the bolt from Prime. It was insane. It was just like, I don't even care what I flip. It's all going to be damage, so it is so freaking powerful to be able to set up with these characters, because then again, I don't care what I want, and then I play Belligerence and I get to focus with Prime, and if I see like a single orange on the top of the deck, I'm okay if I want to focus it away because I'm trying to dig for my doubles, because everything counts as orange. Like, I'm talking like annoying orange right here. If you guys know anything about that, it is going to be insane. It is so good. The next two coming in here is going to be Master and Metallicado. Now this card is really, really awesome. You guys have seen, we have a bunch of battle icons in the deck, so it's really nice to be able to run this to get possibly +5. The other really cool part is about the battle icons. Now for all purposes that do count for colored icons, this does count as an orange, black, and a blue battle icon card. So I'm going to play this on a character, and then this happens to get thrown down in the swing, then it does count as +3 because it is an orange, a black, and a blue battle icon card. However, we do get some other advantages from it as well. If Flame War does swing, she gets access to the orange battle icon, and if you are in alt mode with your Prime, he's meleeed, you get the blue, and if Fangry is defending, you get the blue as well. So we really get to use this for a lot, and then I guess Prime gets the black battle icon for being in bot mode. So really, really cool there, but also this thing is really nice for when Belligerence does go off, because then this does count as an orange for Fangry as well. So really, really cool little thing there, but like I said, being able to get in big damage is really awesome. Getting possibly +5 can be really, really good. It always does proc, and I get at least +4 every single time. That black battle icon's the only one that's a little iffy, because there's only like, I think 4 cards in the deck that have black battle icons. Now the next two coming in here are going to be cards that I unfortunately didn't print either. It was like, out of all the stuff that I had printed, this was the one page that didn't make it out. And this one's going to be Mission Briefing. Now first off, it is a white and a green battle icon card, so really nice for helping us out on those attacks and defenses. Green, so we can get a lot of those doubles out of our hands if we need to, and then counting towards Metallicado, really, really nice. It does say, draw a card for each character you have on each character in play in bot or body mode. There you go. Whew. So this can potentially draw 3 on a pretty regular basis. What'll end up happening, right, is let's pull out our characters. You guys don't need to see that because it's just a plain card. I'll obviously have it on the screen, but bang, 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 bang. All right, so what'll happen here is that this counts as alt mode. So what usually will happen when we talk about sequencing is we'll kind of flip here, we'll kind of swing here, we'll flip here, and then we'll flip there, we'll swing, and then we flip there. It's at this point when you're about to swing in with Prime where you get a draw 3 off of it. You could also even leave Fangry in this mode if you don't really want to flip because of whatever. Then we can just go ahead and get to draw 2, which can still be really relevant. And then even after all that is said and done, little character comes out, he is a bot mode as well. So it can be really nice. We draw 3 on a pretty regular basis, but even being able to draw 2 with the white battle icon is really, really nice. So that's why that card's going to be in there. The next two coming in here are going to be End Hostilities. Now these are going to provide the same benefits as Belligerence, just obviously on the opposite end. It says when one of your characters defends, each orange either player flips becomes a blue instead. Now, like much how we talked about how all these blues become oranges when we get those swings, well, all these oranges are going to become blues in the deck when we get to swing as well. I'm sorry, when we defend. So it's going to be really, really nice when our opponent goes to play something big like a power punch and a supercharge and it just gets completely wrecked. If they're obviously playing like grenade launcher and some other stuff, that +4 does get to stay. However, any oranges obviously they get to flip, get to switch over into defense for our benefit, which is really, really nice. Whether you're going offensive or defensive, this deck's going to be able to really be able to produce for you. Now the next two coming in here is going to be Fight for Position. Now this is going to be probably the only card slot that I think is like really flexible. It's something that I have been liking in the list, but it's something that I like could live without in some situations, so I haven't really found out where it belongs yet. It's a really nice card because it is an orange and a black battle icon. It really does help out for that Metallicado hit when you do get to go for it. It also does give one of our characters Bold 2 till end of turn, which I think is really nice. I don't think Bold 3 is that essential, so trying to run Supercharge in its place, I don't really like it. I prefer it for the black battle icon, whether it's like Flame War trying to get in or whatever else. The black battle icon can really, really help out in a lot of those situations. And then, like I said, it does give us Bold 2, so now we can get in for bigger bolds. The brass knuckles and stuff, like I said, it's the only card that I'm kind of like iffy about as far as space. I may change it up in the future as far as what is there, but it's been performing really well for me currently. And then the last two are going to be one-ofs. One Sabotage Armaments, obviously really trying to help us out on defense there. So when an enemy does get to attack us, we do need to scrap all of the attacker's weapons, which is really, really nice. There are lots of weapons that run around. There's lots of weapons that like stack now. There's lots of characters that stack multiple weapons. So it's been really nice to try to take off a few weapons at a time when it does come to it, or even just be able to stop something that is doing big damage, Master Sword if they don't have anything in their hand, yada yada, all that good stuff. So I do think that it is really nice as a one-of, and then the last one is an Espionage. Now I run one Espionage on the list because it just feels really good as a one-of. I don't want to run more than that. I also kind of considered on running Counter Espionage on the list, maybe over Fight for Position. We'll see what ends up doing, like I said, sticking. However, this is a really nice card for your opponent to see that is in your deck, because they don't know if you have 1, 2, 3. They don't know like any of that stuff for what you're going to be trying to hit. It does say choose a battle icon color. Then you get to look at your opponent's hand and scrap a card from it that has that battle icon color. So it's really, really good, just like a deterrent, essentially. A lot of times, like, we'll flip this on defense, which is really nice, and then like our opponent will go to look to pick up a card and then see that we have Espionage, and then they're like, do I really want that card? You know, all those really good things. Or also, like, our opponent doesn't see it, they pick up, they're like, oh, I'm going to pick up this, and you're like, okay, cool, I'll get Espionage, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, and you're like, yeah, you know. So it can be really, really nice, like I said, our opponent not knowing that we have 1 or 2. Whatever else can be really, really nice. And then obviously, if that is something that is running really well for you, then maybe put another one in your sideboard so you can board into, so your opponent only thinks that you have 1, you know, boarding in a second, you let one go and they think they're safe, and then you're like, ha, played it out of my hand. So a bunch of different stuff that you can do there, but like I said, it's been performing really well. Plus it is a white and a green, so we get to chuck all those double icons to it if we want to, and then the white obviously just really helping us out when it comes to the swinging and all of that good jazz. So let's go ahead and talk about sequencing here, and then I will talk about a character that I'm having a little bit of fun playing with in the sideboard. Now I don't think that they are going to remain my sideboard character, but I've been having a lot of fun with it, and that is going to be Alpha Trion. Now, I am going to tell you I'm going to be doing far more with this character because I think he finally has enough of the really, really good cards to be able to get, and whether it's on attack or defense, that was really, really nice. Going to be range character, which is nice. 5, 14, 2, so we're keeping a lot of the same stats across the board from our prime. We're actually going to be picking up 1 attack here and losing 1 defense here, but it's totally fine. And then we flip over to this mode. We are going to be a melee character, so we are going to be able to benefit from the Master Metallicato as well. Really nice. And then 6, 14, 1. So we actually get to lose the defense in this mode when it comes to swinging in bot mode. However, we get in this mode after you flip battle cards for this character's attack and before defense flips, just like Battlefield Legend, I may play one of my blue actions I flip. So there's quite a bit of blue actions that we do have in the deck, and there's some stuff that I run more for like sideboard. You can run security checkpoint. I mean, we're running them obviously, but like if you want to do that, that's totally fine. We have in hostilities that we can throw down as one of the free cards, sabotaged. So we have a few different options in our main board that we get to play for free, and we're mainly trying to get that Master Metallicato. So I usually board in a few other ones, like a board in Leap into Battle is a really good blue card. Also hand-to-hand combat is really nice because he is melee and Fangry is melee, so hand-to-hand combat is another ridiculously good card. And then it acts as your sabotage on offense. So really nice stuff with that card. And then yeah, you just get to play it for free. So it can be really, really nice. We're seeing it in for like 6. We flip a couple of oranges, we're in for like 9 or 10, and then like one of those is the hand-to-hand. We don't have a weapon on them. Well, now we're going to aim for like 12 and breaking the defender's weapon. So it can be really, really nice. And then this is where things get kind of insane, and this is something that I found recently that I think is just, like I said, insane. Is when you flip Alpha Trion to this mode, you get to return an orange action from your scrap pile to your hand. So it's really, really nice to be able to flip and get these belligerences back. So if you happen to flip them, you didn't see them, or you want to do like 2 in a row, it's totally, totally possible. You know, you play belligerence for the turn here, you get to swing here with your last character, you get to do whatever with it, and then you get to reset, your opponent gets to go, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to flip Trion, get belligerence, and then swing Fangry. It is really, really, really nice, and it makes it like running the blues in this still the same. Really powerful. Like, I think this is a ridiculously good combo, so I'm going to far more mess around with this as well, just because I think this has the potential for a lot. So maybe even running like an all blue Alpha Trion deck and then being able just to pick up belligerences over and over and over is going to be really, really good, especially with something like the Brass Knuckles. That's a utility that gives bolt 2. So again, we're stacking that utility, we're playing belligerence, and we are punching for so much. We don't care if we're flipping oranges or blues because they all count as oranges. So it's really, really good stuff. So that's some real good secret sauce I'm showing you guys there, just because, like I said, I think there's some big potential for that. I'm going to mess around with that combo in the future, so you guys will definitely see that from me. All right, so getting into our sequencing here, we're going to talk about a little bit what we're doing with the list. You guys know that we're obviously trying to punch as much damage as we possibly can, all that good jazz. Maybe let's, no, because that's not going to work out too well. All right, so for the sake of testing purposes, we are going to just shuffle it up here. I'm going to kind of try to just give you guys a little bit of a dry run like I kind of usually try to do. You guys can see a little bit of what the deck is capable of. Obviously, this is like what you do when it's like solitarying a game. You don't really obviously play up against anything. There's kind of like imaginary scenarios that you just kind of throw out. Really just depends on kind of what you play test against. You can even like obviously put two decks together, put them next to each other, so like you turn them this way, obviously, and then you play yourself playing the two decks. Just so you can like kind of play test and see what you're gonna do, especially during this time period when you can't really, you know, get out and play with your buddies. You can at least do this. Okay, so we're about shuffled here. We're gonna do a little cut. Put that right there. Let's say we do get to go first, so let's just draw our 4. We obviously are gonna try to want to go first in most situations. So pretty decent hand that we got here. Let's just lay it all out. Pretty decent hand that we have here. So like I said, talking about sequencing, this is where it depends a lot on what our opponent's doing. For the most part, I flip Flame War, and then it comes down to what my opponent is running. If there is a big star character that I want to try to hit, or anything more than 9 that I really want to hit, then what I will do is I will actually just throw Fangry right here at my opponent. So let's move all this. So we get to get in 2 for our normal attack. We're going to get in bold 2 from his basic attack. We're going to get in bold 2 from the head, and then we're going to get in bold 1 from our prime here, right? So we got 2 basic attack, and then our bold 4, and then 1. So we're getting in for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 on a first swing is actually pretty solid. Like I said, it depends on kind of what we're going into. But either way, we're going to go ahead, we'll smack for that 9. Let's say our opponent's now going to crack back into us. They're most likely going to kind of feed us one of their smaller characters, which is totally fine. Like I said, they may try to just go in here for a big hit onto Fangry. I would highly doubt it though, because then that kind of opens them up for our other characters, especially since we just hit for 9. Pretty nice. So we go for our defense here. Like made up little piece of paper there, so that's for our base. That's for 2 white, and then we are getting Flame War and Optimus. So our opponent, let's say they swing for like 8, whatever, you know, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So we're taking a base of 2. Even if they're in for like 10, we're only taking 2 damage here. I'm sorry, we'd only be taking 4 damage here, so it's pretty solid. I'd obviously get rid of like the security checkpoint for this mission briefing. We talked about like being able to get rid of those doubles. Pretty good stuff. Go ahead and draw for the turn. Really good, because we're going to probably be throwing our Flame War here. I'm probably going to hold on a Grenade Launcher for Prime for his big hit. Because I'm throwing Flame War, and let's say our opponent does have those fewer, like, you know, smaller characters left over, even that bigger character, we'll flip to this mode maybe. It depends, like maybe I'd probably just leave him in this mode. I think I would probably just leave him here. I would probably go for something as simple as, I guess we could even try to go for a draw here, since it's our only action for the turn. So if we flip here, we do get to draw 2, and then we get to maybe pick up a little bit something else. So we play that, we'll draw 2, go ahead and see what we get. Picking up the piece there was a little iffy. It's going to be nice to be able to get rid of it next turn if we need to. And then just obviously go for the Scoundrels. We would swing there. You could also flip Flame War there for the bold if you're trying to get in with her. We flip our 2 and then our prime. So getting in for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know, pretty decent. Not great, but pretty decent. Move that there. They punch back. Let's say they're going to hit Fangry again. Let's say they're the bigger star character. So we're going to get our 2 and then 2 off of those. So we're in for 2, 4, 6, 7. So like I said, ridiculously good block. We end up surviving this turn. We got to pick up another mission briefing, which is really nice here because we'd most likely be flipping our prime for the turn. So now we can either choose to draw 3 if we want. We have an espionage if we want to hit our opponent's hand, or if this is the turn that we go for the peace, then we could even go for something like the Peace Through Tyranny here. We peace out our Fangry, we get our Flame out, we play our Grenade Launcher here, and we're in a pretty decent spot. We'll just stack that all there because it doesn't matter. We would probably swing here just because what I would do is like check our oranges here, because you always want to make sure that you know exactly what's left in your deck. So we saw a piece, we saw a piece. There's a piece there. So we have 3 improvised shields in the deck. So I really want to make sure that we're getting in here with Prime. We'd focus, we'll look at it. It's Master. It doesn't really do a whole lot for me. It only gives me a black battle icon, so I'd actually scrap it. And then we would get in for our swing and then our bold. So really, really powerful here. We're getting in for what? That's 14, 6, 10, 14 damage that we're getting in for. Choose to get rid of something here. I probably wouldn't get rid of anything, so we would just let all that sit to the side because obviously we haven't finished our turn. We get in, that does get scrapped. We swing here, we know that we still have those 2 left over, and then he has bold 2. So we're getting in for 2, 3, 4, 5. Not really bad, not great. Maybe we'll get in for like 1 or something like that. All that goes away, and then we get to take our additional turn. And then now something like here, where we could even go with something like, this is bot, bot, bot. Now I would probably play the mission briefing, and we would draw 3, just because I would think, yep, that would be pretty decent. Just to be able to draw 3 lets us shuffle, which is really nice, and then that does now allow us to get all those double oranges and double blues back in the deck. I was hoping to pick up a belligerence there. I didn't see that if I had them all through. We should definitely like have looked through the scrap pile to been like, oh, hey, all 3 are in there. Totally fine. And then we get to go with an upgrade still if we want. Here's probably where I would start to load up Flame War a little bit. Like I said, I always play the sparring gear first, so we would go there, and then I would send in Flame Out. And now what this essentially do is put my opponent on a really bad swing into Flame Out, and then I probably would have flipped Prime just because we want to get that extra bold. And then, so we got 2, bold 2, and then his 1, so we're in for 5 again. Not really great, not bad. This improvise, we would go ahead and chuck for sparring gear just to get it out of our deck. And then now our opponent has to have a really bad hit back into Flame Out, and then we just get to kind of like repeat the process just over and over, you know what I mean? We have a really good Master Metallicato here, which is a super, super solid card. What I could probably do here, depending on what I'm swinging in with, most likely swinging with Flame War, is really try to get a big hit with her. You could do something like Master Metallicato here and then even flip her and then play something like our opponent knows about the other sparring gear, so we would just put that out there on our Prime, and then we'd swing in here, and right, we have our 2 for normal, her bold 1, and then Prime's bold 1. So we'd get in for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we get in for 9, pretty, you know, basic little hit there. Definitely would have thought we'd like flip something a little bit better, but getting in for 9 still with Flame War is pretty solid. The other thing we could have done was leave her in this mode, and instead of playing the Metallicato, we could have easily have played the End Hostilities if our opponent's on a heavy orange, just to be able to make sure that she does get to stick around. So just a little bit of a dry run. You guys get to kind of see what the deck does get to do a little bit, see how well it is. Like I said, I didn't get to really show you guys a belligerent swing here, so what we could do is just kind of put all this together. Now, obviously, this is like you having to have it in your hand, which is one of the reasons why Tryon works really well on the sideboard. If you're not seeing, you know, your belligerences and your opponent's playing a little bit of a slower game, so you can go a little more on the offense. Especially if they're like on the blue deck, man, belligerence just destroys them. I mean, I've had Fangry like take out major Shockwave before because it's pretty insane like what you get to put out. So, all right, we are all shuffled up here. And then obviously in order for us to be able to play something like this, we'd have to be going like, you know, turn 2 or with the reset. So we'll assume it's like reset, and this would probably be my position that I would be in because we'd have already flipped Prime. Who cares about what our hand would be in? We'd have to like generically have a hand, and let's say like this is our scrap pile. So boom, let's just put all that like that. See what we got in there. Not much. So that's going to be our reset here. I'm going to assume that I don't have an upgrade, although like Brass Knuckles here with Belligerence is, like I said, kind of insane. We flip Prime and we get to punch that big star character with reset. Another reason that's really nice about going first with it is that you have the choice of the reset, so as long as your Fangry gets to survive, you guys will just kind of see what he gets to do here a little bit. So getting in for our 2 base, our bold 2, 2 for the white, the head, and then Prime. So, oh, sorry, and Brass Knuckles. So we did flip a lot of oranges there, which is really nice. However, like this would kind of totally screw off our opponent if they did have a bunch of blue. But we'd be getting in for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This does count as an orange because it's a blue for us, but then it's swapped. So hold on, I lost my count of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I mean, it's 17 by playing Belligerence and Brass Knuckles, and like, so that's pretty good for a swing there. I mean, like we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We end up getting 6+ damage just because of Belligerence. So really nice. But even if you didn't count Belligerence, that we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. So I mean, even without that, like 11 on a pretty basic swing is still pretty good. So just gives you guys a little bit of the sequencing of what we're doing as far as with the deck. And then the same thing would go for like Tryon. If we are going this route with our Alpha Tryon, is that we start the sequencing as well. Like if we want to send in Fangry first for a big hit, then we go for a Fangry hit. We flip our Flame War first almost every single time. And then like we throw in Fangry. it's whatever. We flip here, we throw in, it's whatever, and then on turn 3, if we have belligerents, great, we just go in for a belligerents. If not, we alpha try and we flip, we pick up belligerents, and then we can either swing here with that, or we can wait until reset and just kind of throw alpha trion here, get the blues, and with our reset, our opponent gets to go, then we flip trion, pick up belligerents, and then we have the Fangry hit that you guys just got to saw. So has a little bit of differences that we can do with the list. It's really, really fun. I definitely suggest that you guys try it out. I think it's really, really great. Obviously, once Wave 5 comes out, we can actually start playing. And then, you know, if I see you online and you guys want to play it against me or want me to play it, that'd be perfectly fine too. No issues. I really hope you guys did enjoy this deck breakdown, showing off all these different things and talk about Wave 5. I really appreciate all of you guys, and I will catch you guys in the next one.